I get it. When you hear Glock, the first things that come to mind are reliability, simplicity, and that Austrian engineering that just works. But here's the truth that most folks in the industry won't say out loud. Not every Glock is created equal. Some of these polymer-framed pistols? They'll bleed your bank account dry faster than a Vegas slot machine. I'm talking about models that chew through your wallet with constant malfunctions, overpriced upgrades, and ammo costs that'll make your mortgage look reasonable. So today, we're diving into 5 Glock models you need to steer clear of. These aren't just underwhelming guns. They're full-blown money pits that'll have you wishing you'd just gone with a good old Glock 19 from the start. And let me be clear, everything in this list is backed by deep user feedback, real-world reliability data, and performance reports. If you own one and it's running fine, great. But if you're in the market and want to avoid throwing cash into a bottomless pit, pay close attention, because these are 5 Glocks you don't want in your safe. Number 5. Glock 44. When most folks think training pistol, they're picturing something cheap to shoot, simple to run, and dead reliable. You're definitely not expecting a pistol that's pickier than a 5-star food critic. But that's exactly what you get with the Glock 44. Marketed as the perfect trainer, the 44 shares the same frame size as a Glock 19, but it's chambered in 22 LR. Sounds like a great setup for affordable practice, until you pull the trigger and start racking malfunctions like it's your job. This thing throws failure to feeds, stovepipes, double feeds, you name it. It's the malfunction mixtape no shooter wants. And here's the kicker. It only runs halfway decent with high-velocity premium ammo. So much for that cheap-to-shoot pitch. Bulk-packed range stuff? Forget it. It'll jam up faster than a budget AR in the mud. On top of that, it's absurdly sensitive to how you load the magazines. One wrong move, and you'll spend the whole session racking the slide and clearing failures instead of sending rounds downrange. Accuracy? Good luck. The factory sights are so far off that most shooters have to aim low just to stay on paper. Even the reviews from major firearms outlets call it out. Maintenance is where things go from bad to worse. 22 LR is already known to run dirty, but this Glock acts like a carbon magnet. You'll be cleaning every inch of it after each range trip, if you want it to keep functioning at all. Carbon, lead, and fouling pile up fast, and when they do, you're right back to clearing failures every magazine. And don't think you'll save money on ammo either. Because the gun only runs reliably on top-shelf 22, you'll be burning through your training budget fast. On top of that, there's no optics cut, no threaded barrel option, and the overall feel? Cheap compared to the centerfire Glocks we actually trust. Bottom line, this gun fails at the one thing it was built to do: help new shooters build fundamentals. It's unreliable, picky, underbuilt, and overpriced for what it delivers. For a training pistol, that's a complete fail. Number 4. Glock 43. If you've ever searched for that perfect concealed carry, something slim, lightweight, and dead simple to operate, the Glock 43 probably caught your eye. It was hyped as the ultimate single-stack 9mm. But once you start carrying and shooting it, you realize this slimline pistol comes with a whole lot of baggage. The idea sounds solid on paper. Shrink down a full-size Glock into a pocketable defensive tool. But physics doesn't care about marketing. That reduced weight and microframe? It turns recoil into a real problem. Fast strings of fire get wild in a hurry, and muzzle flip becomes tough to manage. Factory sights? Total throwaways. Most folks swap them out before their first range trip. The trigger feels heavy, mushy, and inconsistent. And that grip? It's just too short. You'll likely end up adding extensions or stippling just to make it usable. Now, let's talk capacity. You get 6 rounds, maybe 7 with an extended mag. For a gun you might bet your life on, that's not giving you a lot of room to breathe. So, what happens? People start adding those extended magazines, and just like that, the whole slim carry profile goes out the window. It doesn't stop there. The Glock 43 can be finicky about ammo. bulk range stuff? It'll choke. You'll be burning through premium hollow points just to get it to cycle reliably. That means you're spending more on ammo just to function. Not to mention the pile of upgrades you'll be tempted to do. We're talking night sights, aftermarket triggers, grip mods, magazine extensions, the whole 9 yards. Before long, you've spent more on accessories than on the pistol itself. And here's the kicker. All those mods can tank your resale value. So instead of a carry-ready tool, you're left with a money pit in your holster. Number 3. Glock 22. Here's a little industry truth nobody likes to admit. Just because a gun is popular doesn't mean it's good. And the Glock 22 is the perfect example. It saw massive adoption, especially with law enforcement, but popularity and long-term practicality don't always go hand in hand. The core issue with the 22? Caliber choice. This pistol was built around the .40 Smith & Wesson, a high-pressure round that generates more recoil and more stress than 9mm. But the early Glock frames? They were essentially 9mm builds reconfigured to handle a much hotter cartridge. That mismatch opened the door to reliability problems and accelerated wear. Frame stress is a known weak point. The added recoil impulse and pressure of .40 cal rounds push the limits of Glock's polymer frame design. First-gen models were notorious for developing cracks near the mag well and other high-stress zones. Later generations improved things, but the foundational compromise never really went away. Parts lifespan is another problem. While a standard 9mm Glock might run 20,000 rounds before needing work, the 22 often starts breaking parts around the 5,000 mark. Springs, extractors, and pins. You're replacing them a lot more often than you'd expect from a duty pistol. Then there's the ammo situation. .40 Smith & Wesson has fallen out of favor. Most agencies dropped it. The civilian market largely moved on. That means ammo is more expensive, harder to find, and the selection isn't getting any better. So you're paying more for less. And maintenance? Not cheap. That added stress means more wear, more cleaning, more parts replacements, and more trips to your local gunsmith. The cost stacks up fast, and resale value reflects it. Used Glock 22s consistently go for less than 9mm Glocks in the same condition. The secondary market's made up its mind, and it's not doing this model any favors. Number 2. Glock 42. Picture this. You pick up a pistol for personal defense, and it turns out to be more emotionally unstable than a high school breakup. That's the Glock 42 in a nutshell. On paper, it looks like the ideal deep concealment solution. Compact, lightweight, chambered in 380A, C, P. But once you get it to the range, reality hits different. This pistol is infamously picky with ammunition. It's like trying to feed a toddler. Get the brand or bullet shape wrong, and you're looking at failure to extract, stovepipes, double feeds, take your pick. Unlike the rest of the Glock lineup, the 42 just doesn't like to play nice. But the real deal breaker? Limp wristing. If you don't maintain rock-solid wrist control, this thing turns into a malfunction machine. And in a real-life defensive situation, under adrenaline and stress, you're not always going to have perfect form. That's a huge problem for a gun designed to save your life. It gets worse when you look at maintenance. The Glock 42 runs dirty, and it needs detailed cleaning after pretty much every range session. Not a quick wipe down. I'm talking full breakdowns and deep scrubs. That's more time, more effort, and more money on cleaning gear just to keep it reliable. Ammo sensitivity goes beyond function. It affects cost. This gun performs best with specific weights and profiles, meaning generic 380 won't cut it. You'll have to test multiple loads just to find what works and stick with it, and that adds up fast. Now let's talk ergonomics. The slide on this thing is stiff, especially when the mag is full. Shooters with weaker hands or limited grip strength often struggle just to rack it. For a carry pistol, that's a serious flaw. You need a gun that runs easy, not one that fights you every step of the way. And then there's quality control. Some units come off the line and run smooth. Others are jam factories right out of the box. It's like rolling dice, but instead of winning cash, your prize is whether or not your gun actually works. Number 1. Glock 37. Sometimes a gun company builds a solution to a problem that doesn't exist. Other times, they create a whole new problem that nobody can fix. The Glock 37 is exactly that. A full-size pistol chambered in a caliber nobody asked for, and almost nobody supports. Let's start with the cartridge. 45 GAP, short for Glock Automatic Pistol. That alone should raise a red flag. When a manufacturer invents their own proprietary round, you're stepping into risky territory. And this one? It never caught on. The idea was to offer 45 ACP ballistics in a shorter package. But what actually happened was a complete ammo disaster. 45 GAP is virtually extinct. In any kind of ammo shortage, manufacturers focus on the calibers people actually shoot. GAP isn't even in the conversation. If you manage to find it on the shelf, brace yourself for the price tag. This boutique-tier ammo runs so high that even match-grade 9mm looks like a bargain. And it's not just cost, it's availability. You'll spend more time hunting for rounds than you will at the range. Now look at industry support. Aside from Glock, no major manufacturer makes firearms in this caliber anymore. Springfield Armory dabbled in it briefly and bailed. So when it comes to parts, upgrades, or mags, you're stuck inside Glock's ecosystem, and even they barely support it. Used Glock 37s pop up often, especially in the law enforcement trade-in market. You'll see them priced around $299 and think you've scored a deal. But those departments dumped them for a reason. They couldn't keep them fed either. And what are you really buying? A glorified paperweight. If you do manage to get ammo, it's too expensive to train with consistently. That kills your proficiency. That compromises your defensive confidence. And that makes it a terrible option for serious use. Parts availability is just as bad. Sure, Glock technically supports the 37, but production is so limited that even a busted recoil spring can leave your pistol out of commission for weeks or longer. That's not a tool. That's a liability. And there it is. 5 Glock models that'll drain your wallet faster than you can say Austrian engineering. Just because it's got the Glock name stamped on the slide doesn't mean it's a smart buy. I want to hear from you. Have you run any of these models? Did they let you down or prove us wrong? Drop your stories in the comments. Good, bad, or downright ugly. If this breakdown helped you dodge a money pit, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment below. This is Guns You Can't Live Without. And remember, the best gun is the one that runs when everything else fails. Stay safe, train smart, and I'll see you in the next one.